Hello and welcome. Today we will introduce you to the world's top 10 armies. Many countries invest in large-scale military forces to ensure security and protect their national interests. In this video, we will explain why each of these armies is so large, the total cost of military spending worldwide, and why each country needs such a large army. Worldwide military spending. Before we start, let us provide you with some quick facts. In 2021, the total worldwide military spending was around $1.981 trillion. Top 10 armies. Now, let's move on to the list. Here are the world's top 10 armies, ranked from 10 to 1. The world's top 10 armies, ranked from 10 to 1. Number 10. Iran. Iran's army is ranked number 10 on this list with an estimated 534,000 active troops. Iran's army is relatively large because it sees itself as a regional power in the Middle East and has a history of being involved in regional conflicts. Iran's military spending in 2021 was approximately $15.3 billion, which is around 3.5% of its GDP. The Iranian army includes infantry, armor, and air defense units, as well as some ballistic missiles. The world's top 10 armies, ranked from 10 to 1. Number 9. Japan. Japan's army is ranked number 9 on this list with approximately 248,000 active troops. After World War II, Japan's constitution was rewritten to include a clause that renounces war and prohibits the country from maintaining armed forces capable of offensive operations. However, Japan still maintains a relatively large self-defense force. Japan's military spending in 2021 was approximately $51.7 billion, which is around 1% of its GDP. The Japanese army includes ground, maritime, and air defense units. The world's top 10 armies, ranked from 10 to 1. Number 8. South Korea. South Korea's army is ranked number 8 on this list with approximately 625,000 active troops. South Korea's army is relatively large because it faces a constant threat from North Korea, which is the fourth largest army in the world. South Korea's military spending in 2021 was approximately $44.9 billion, which is around 2.5% of its GDP. The South Korean army includes ground, maritime, and air defense units. The world's top 10 armies, ranked from 10 to 1. Number 7. Pakistan. Pakistan's army is ranked number 7 on this list with approximately 654,000 active troops. Pakistan's army is relatively large because it faces a constant threat from India, which is the fourth largest army in the world. Pakistan's military spending in 2021 was approximately $8.5 billion, which is around 2.6% of its GDP. The Pakistani army includes ground, air defense, and naval units. The world's top 10 armies, ranked from 10 to 1. Number 6. France. France's army is ranked number 6 on this list with approximately 202,000 active troops. France's army is relatively large because it has a history of being involved in military operations overseas and maintaining a global military presence. France's military spending in 2021 was approximately $53.4 billion, which is around 2.3% of its GDP. The French army includes ground, air, and naval units. The world's top 10 armies, ranked from 10 to 1. Number 5. United Kingdom. The United Kingdom's army is ranked number 5 on this list with approximately 146,000 active troops. The UK's army is relatively large because it has a history of maintaining a global military presence and being involved in military operations overseas. The UK's military spending in 2021 was approximately $56.6 billion, which is around 2.3% of its GDP. The British Army includes ground, air, and naval units. The world's top 10 armies, ranked from 10 to 1. Number 4. India. India's army is ranked number 4 on this list with approximately 1.4 million active troops, making it one of the largest armies in the world. India's army is relatively large because it has a history of border disputes and conflicts with its neighboring countries, particularly Pakistan and China. India's military spending in 2021 was approximately $72.9 billion, which is around 2.9% of its GDP. The Indian Army includes ground, air, and naval units. The world's top 10 armies, ranked from 10 to 1. Number 3. China. China's army is ranked number 3 on this list with approximately 2.1 million active troops, making it the largest army in the world. China's army is relatively large because it is a regional and global superpower and needs to protect its national interests. China's military spending in 2021 was approximately $252 billion, which is around 1.9% of its GDP. The Chinese army includes ground, air, and naval units. The world's top 10 armies, ranked from 10 to 1. Number 2. Russia. Russia's army is ranked number 2 on this list with approximately 1 million active troops. Russia's army is relatively large because it is a regional and global superpower and needs to protect its national interests. Russia's military spending in 2021 was approximately $61.7 billion, which is around 3.9% of its GDP. The Russian army includes ground, air, and naval units. The world's top 10 armies, ranked from 10 to 1. Number 1. United States of America. The United States of America's army is ranked number 1 on this list with approximately 1.3 million active troops. The US Army is the largest and most powerful army in the world because the US is a global superpower and has a history of being involved in military conflicts around the world. The US military spending in 2021 was approximately $778 billion, which is around 3.7% of its GDP. The US Army includes ground, air, and naval units. In conclusion, these are the world's top 10 armies. Each of these countries has different reasons for having a large army, whether it is to protect their national interests, maintain a global military presence, or to defend against regional threats. Military spending is a significant expense for many countries, and it is interesting to see how much each country invests in their military forces. Thank you for watching.